This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. I'm delighted to be here helping you with playing the guitar. In this video, I'm going to explain the different types of chords that we play on the guitar and the chord symbols that represent them. And then I'm going to explain chord symbols in general and how those work within the guitar music that we end up playing. I'm also going to explain tablature diagrams that demonstrate visually how we can play given chords on the guitar. All of these things are really valuable to you as you're getting started with playing the guitar, especially with playing chords on the guitar. Now, before I jump in, I'm going to mention that this video does accompany Lesson 1 from the Chords and Harmony Books 1 and 2 Method Book, which is part of my Method Book series. So if you have that book, you can look on pages 7 through 9 and 11 for more in-depth explanations and for more visual demonstrations that I have up here on the board. Okay, let's dive in. First, the types of chords that we play. Well, on the guitar, we can play chords all along the neck and move them around. These are called movable chords. We're going to learn those way later in the course. We're going to start with first position or open position chords. Some people refer to these as cowboy chords. We can use these chords to play thousands of songs, and we're going to play lots and lots of songs throughout the course that goes with Chords and Harmony Books 1 and 2. So, these are the chords that we're going to be learning. Within these chords, we're going to start out with the three most common types that we end up using to play in songs. The first one is major chords. Those are the ones we probably play the most. So major chords. Then there are also minor chords. And besides those, there's a major chord that has a flatted seventh added to it, flatted seventh scale tone, which creates a special type of chord called a dominant seventh chord. So if I were to exemplify these with A, we have an A major chord, or an A minor chord, or an A7 chord. These all sound slightly different, and they're all represented slightly different by chord symbols. We use chord symbols to know what to play. So in music, as we're learning and playing songs, we're going to have chord symbols, and those chord symbols get written above the music. Usually there's three different types of music that we might run into as a guitarist. One has slash notation like this. It's just marking out the beats of a measure. And above it we have the chord symbols telling us what chords to play for those beats. We might also have chord symbols just written above the lyrics of a song. I have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star here up on the board. All three of these match Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So just written above. We don't have any rhythm, anything like that indicating when to change chords. They're just written above the lyrics where those chord changes happen. And then there's also more written published type music that we see where the melody is written on the staff, and then you might have lyrics below or you might not, and then up above we have those chord symbols again. So the chord symbols tell us what chords to play. We're not going to read actual written music telling us what chords to play. We're going to learn a chord that matches a type of chord that we can play every time we see a chord symbol that matches that chord. So I gave an example with A minor, and A7 as our three types of chords that we run into frequently. Up here on the board, I have the chord symbols for each of those. So the first thing we find in a chord symbol is the root note name of the chord. So there is a scale, or at least one scale I should say, because some chords actually overlap with more than one scale, but there is a scale that overlaps with the chords that we play. And the starting pitch of that scale is, first step of the scale, is known as the root. And that pitch is also the foundational pitch of a chord. It's also known as the root of the chord. And the name of that pitch is what we use in our chord symbol. So with that A chord, that A minor, and that A7, what they all have in common is that they have an A note as the root. So in each of these chord symbols we see the A. Now when it's the major chord, probably the most common one that we run into, we just see the root note named. So for example, we could also see G or D or B flat or F sharp. Any of those root notes just by themselves is going to tell us to play a major chord with that root note as the root. So that's how we find those chords. G, D, C, whatever they may be, we're just going to see the root note written just like this. So that's telling me to play an A. Then over here, when it's a minor chord, we're going to see a lowercase m next to it, or you might actually see a minus sign. And so if I see a minus sign or a lowercase m, that's telling me that it's a minor chord. So I'm going to play the minor variety instead of the major chord. So I got the root note and that lowercase m. And then when it's supposed to be the dominant 7th chord, I'm going to see the root note and then the number 7. So in this case, A7 instead of A major. Adds that flatted 7th or minor 7th scale tone to the chord to give it its unique sound. So we got the major chord, the minor, and the dominant 7th. Then, as I mentioned, chord symbols will be written above the music. So we're going to stop here for a second with chord symbols and this and look at how these tablature diagrams work that demonstrate to us how to actually play the chord. I have an example of a tablature diagram drawn up here on the board. If you have the book, then on page 11 you can find more examples and explanations there. So the way this works is it matches up with the neck of the guitar just like that. So we have frets 1, 2, and 3 here, and these spaces represent frets 1, 2, and 3. If you're unfamiliar with frets and strings, you're going to want to check out the introductory section videos that go over that, as well as how to hold the guitar, how to tune the guitar, all those kinds of things that are helpful for us to be able to play the guitar as well. I'm not covering in this video, but there are introductory section videos that go with the book that have explanations on all those types of things. So frets and strings, all of that is explained there. Okay, so frets 1, 2, and 3 are represented here. And then we have these string lines, these lines that represent the strings. So we have strings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If we start on the right side, we have string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The highest sounding string being over the right side and the lowest sounding string being over the left side. Then we have dots drawn on the diagram. That's where we're going to put our fingers. Up above the diagram, you may see numbers suggesting which fingers to use, and X's and O's suggesting strings that are not to be played and strings that are to be played open, meaning no finger is on them. So, finger 1, finger 2, and finger 3 are used in this example, which is an example of how to play a D chord. On our left hand, we have our thumb, and then we have fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4. So index is 1, middle is 2, ring is 3, and pinky is 4. When using one of these diagrams to figure out how to play a chord, a good strategy is to start with your index finger. So find where your index finger goes first, then find where your middle finger goes, then your ring finger, and then your pinky if the pinky is used. Then look at which strings are played open and which strings aren't played at all. So if we follow that strategy here with this diagram, my index finger is on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. So I'm going to go into the 2nd fret and I'm going to come up onto the 3rd string and I would put my index finger there. Then I'm going to look for my middle finger, which is on the top string and at the 2nd fret. So I'll go ahead and put my finger there, my middle finger there on that top string, 2nd fret. Then my ring finger is at the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So I go ahead and find that positioning. Then I'm playing the 4th string open, but not playing the 5th string or the 6th string at all. So I go ahead and strum just the top 4 strings, and I'm playing a D chord. So that's how these diagrams work. And you're going to find lots of these diagrams throughout the book. You may find them in lots of settings because this is a standard way of communicating how to play chords on the guitar. In the next video that goes with lesson 1, I'm going to be going over the strumming technique and also a little bit about rhythm, which is really valuable when we're playing chords on the guitar. The video that follows that one will then introduce G, E minor, C, and D. And the video that comes after that one gives you some jam-along exercises where you can incorporate and work on strumming those chords right along with me and the band. So it's going to be great. I'll see you in more of these videos. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out more great content. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.